Hello and welcome back. Happy you've all tuned in, and I'm here with some news, so let's get into this. We're going to recap Harry and Meghan, and this is from theguardian.com. They have such an interesting insight on Harry and Meghan and the amount of influence that they wield as a couple. So the article says, at times like these, it's clear that the Sussexes represent a missed opportunity for the UK that needs friends in the world. A popular Nigerian adage says, quote, "The cow never knows the value of its tail until it is chopped off," end quote. In many tragic ways, this speaks to today's Britain. From EU membership to competent leadership to low inflation, it seems necessary for Britain to lose things to appreciate their importance. This week, look at Prince Harry and Meghan being feted in Jamaica. See the soft power skills they carry with them and think about that Nigerian adage. So in this article, he goes on to say how Harry and Meghan and some of the British press have been all year villains. But around the world, they could not be more loved, often for the very reasons they are despised in some segments of the British media. The author of this article says, quote, "They are the soft power we could have enjoyed with the increasingly dominant, increasingly self-confident, non-white world, especially the Commonwealth," end quote. The author goes on to say, it's not just that they are royals, and goes on to say Prince William and Kate headed to "no problem" Jamaica, in quotes, in 2022 and encountered problems aplenty. As their PR fiasco unfolded, they were derided for shaking hands with Jamaican children through wire fences and for motoring Viceroy-style through the crowded streets in a fancy Land Rover. At the nightmare's end, Jamaica basically handed Britain its P-45, informing the royals of its intention to become a republic, to "move on," in quotes. And it's not just that Harry and Meghan are famous. The author says David Cameron's 2015 visit to Jamaica as Prime Minister was seen as another giant clunker. But then he did self-sabotage there, swatting away reparations requests, urging Jamaicans to "move on," in quotes, from slavery, and on and on. So they say that he could have handled that better. Still, the author says Prince Harry has something the royals he left behind and the likes of chillax Cameron can never have. He has familiarity, an ease with difference, and he has Meghan. In 2012, he also had the love of the UK press and public. He was praised for his warm embrace of the then Jamaican PM, Portia Simpson Miller, and was photographed larking around with Usain Bolt. Quote, "He has shown himself to be a natural ambassador, a diplomat in a very real sense. One hug from him has at least partly dissipated the bad feeling of generations. It is inconceivable that any other royal could have pulled this off quite so effectively," end quote, gushed the Mail on Sunday. But that was then, before the British media's own version of Orwell's 2 minutes hate, in quotes, became a thing. And the author points out how some of the press in the UK see Harry and Meghan glad-handing and being glad-handed in Jamaica, surfing the love at the premiere of the Bob Marley biopic, and they don't much like it. Quote, "Meghan and Harry pose next to anti-royal Jamaican Prime Minister who wants to ditch the monarchy and warned Wills and Kate that they'll never be king and queen of his nation as Charles undergoes prostate surgery and the Princess of Wales recovers in hospital," end quote, thundered the Mail. And, quote, "The hubris of Harry and Meghan's Jamaican photo shoot," end quote, snorted The Spectator. And also another article calling Harry and Meghan provocative, quote, "sparking royal row as they meet Jamaican politicians plotting to oust Charles as head of state," end quote, jeered The Sun. So Britain understood Harry's value and soft power in 2012. So what changed? And the author comes up with this answer. Quote, "Harry fell in love with and married a black woman. That could have been a boon for this country, here and abroad. Instead, it's a might have been, and what might have been to our reputational benefit is what has been happening in Jamaica. The UK headlines and sour grapes tell you one thing: we messed up and we know it, the author says. And he goes on to say that Meghan was and remains soft power dynamite, comparing it to what this author calls soft power kryptonite, in quotes, of William and Kate and the Windsor firm that spurned her, end quote. That's a quick summary of this article. The main crux of it is the missed opportunity. And haven't so many of us pointed that out? You gotta tip your hat to the insight and the amazing capability of the Queen to have an understanding of how important it was that Harry had married Meghan. You know, the Queen was secure in who she was. She was the top lady of the firm. She had the top job. She didn't have any fear of, Harry and Meghan coming in and stealing the spotlight. She has seen all of that happening in waves. She saw it with Diana, with all the infusion of the, quote, freshness that all those royal wives brought. And she was secure in herself. Hence, we saw the Queen embracing Meghan first and foremost in such a unique way. And she immediately put Harry and Meghan in those prominent roles as Commonwealth Youth Ambassadors. She had foresight. She knew that they would serve well as president and Meghan as vice president in those positions. And why? Because of that special package that they came in, that of course the other members do not have. Meghan, with her mixed race background, Prince Harry, being a prince and his own role there, would be amplified by Meghan being alongside him and what she could offer from her own perspective as a woman of color. And of course, Prince Harry bringing his wealth of knowledge and experience that he had as a senior working royal. And we can see now that a lot of people are just seeing it more obviously that Harry and Meghan are very popular and very effective as global figures in the world, and now in context of the royal family and what they have in the huge missed opportunity of harnessing that star power, that particular special sauce and influence that Harry and Meghan had. And it's so obvious to everyone all over the world. And I love how this author talks about these sour grapes. And haven't we been seeing this? And isn't it something that a lot more people are pointing out? According to an article here by The Gleaner, which is, I think, a Jamaican outlet, they spoke about Harry and Meghan and they addressed the criticism of their visit. How many of you saw people appearing to be, quote, baffled by Harry and Meghan being there for that premiere? First of all, what's so strange about Meghan, who is mixed race, going out to support a film about someone who share that ancestral connection? That's not strange, first and foremost. Number two, Harry has had this amazing love and connection with Jamaica as well. It's not like he just popped up there for the first time. He's been well loved there. It's documented. And they say that they're fans of Bob Marley, and also they were invited. They just didn't rock up, packing up and flying all the way to Jamaica uninvited. Of course, the organizers knew that they would be there, and they were invited by the Paramount CEO. This article, JamaicaGleaner.com, I'm just going to summarize something here. They spoke about the backlash, and they said this, quote, "The backlash in the British media was swift, with Mail Online labeling Harry as, quote, insensitive for posing with Jamaica's, quote, anti-royalist prime minister. The anti-royalist, in quotes, label was a reference to Holness's message to Harry's brother, William, during the 2022 tour of the Caribbean, that Jamaica was, quote, moving on from its current system of government with the king as the head of state, replacing it as a republican system of government." Another British commentator described Harry and Meghan's visit to Jamaica as, quote, tone deaf, coming the very week King Charles was due to go through that surgery, and also given the stated intention of Holness's administration. So the commentator said, quote, "They are in Jamaica, which is a country that is bordering on republicanism. The Prime Minister of Jamaica has made it absolutely clear he wants nothing to do with the monarchy. He thinks it's past its sell-by date," end quote. And they go on to speak, saying of Harry, King Charles's own son, quote, "who hasn't found time yet to send his best wishes, is there consorting and hobnobbing with one of the most overtly Republican prime ministers in the Caribbean," end quote. So basically going on to say that they had gone on to whine about, Jamaica's push to become a republic. And now, a Jamaican academic professor called Carolyn Cooper fired back, declaring that criticism of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex because of Jamaica's push to become a republic is, quote, absolutely absurd, in quotes, saying, quote, hospitality to a visitor should not be confused with ambivalence about disengaging from the monarchy, end quote. And she is a respected literary scholar. She also went on to say, basically, she was speaking there in a local dialect. I'm just going to paraphrase. She said here, in any case, she thought that they're the same people who flung Prince Harry out of the royal family. So what's the issue? I don't see a problem there at all, end quote. Basically saying, why are you in their business? Why are you all up in their business, right? And Cooper went on to say of Prince William that she thought he, quote, deserved the reception he got, end quote. She noted that Harry was in Jamaica on a personal visit to celebrate famous Jamaican Bob Marley, while his older brother was on an official visit representing the royal family, saying this, quote, they, Prince William and his wife Kate, were acting in a way that was reinforcing old colonialist norms, greeting people through the fence. Their symbolism was all wrong, end quote. So she went on to say that Harry came to Lyme and saying he had no mission to try to persuade them to become a part of, quote, an old colonial setup, end quote. So it is completely two different scenarios. So yes, so that's pushing back on all of that. And I've got to say something. It's interesting. We all saw that coverage, a lot of those segments of the British press who tried to turn something so simple as Harry and Meghan attending a premiere on the invitation of CEO of Paramount Pictures and Nickelodeon Brian Robbins, and of course his wife Tracy James, into more than what it was. They were reading so much into this. And there was a lot of people trying to interpret something so simple and reading too much into it, trying to see what might be sinister about this visit. I mean, just get a load of these headlines. Quote, it shows yet again what a different world they live in. Royal experts slam Harry and Meghan's insensitive, on and on, end quote. Of course, they're speaking of the timing with Charles and all that. And also another article here, quote, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle attempt to prove royal family wrong with subtle move, end quote. So yes, doesn't this just remind you of that scenario online where people think someone is posting something about them indirectly through just a post they make? And that's what I'm trying to say here. People are reading too much into Harry and Meghan going there. They weren't sending any subliminal messages to the royal family. They weren't being sinister. They weren't conniving or plotting against the royal family. They were there on invite. And remember, Harry said he was moving on as well in his own way. He said he was not going to play the games that ultimately ended in tragedy for his mom. He was not going to play those games. He is not sending messages. They've moved on with their lives. And as I've said before, it's not strange, Meghan having Black ancestry, that's something important for her as well. And also, she has her own background in acting. Why would this be such a strange world for her to be on a red carpet? So they were trying to make it as something so strange. And also, remember someone saying that where Harry and Meghan went, the body language experts would show up? And right on cue, here's a headline, quote, body language expert explains Meghan Markle's, quote, proud reason, in quotes, behind placing her hand on Prince Harry's chest, end quote. Oh my God. Wow. And remember, these people, according to some of these outlets, they frame them as irrelevant. And yet there they are trying to analyze every move. But yet, when we look at it just more closely, we could see that this is Harry and Meghan out there to watch a movie, to support them in this project, showing and receiving so much love in Jamaica and with the Marley family. It was just so heartwarming to see. So many images have come out of here, Prince Harry leaving his seat. He had already sat down, and I think he went back to greet Rita Marley. And you could tell it wasn't a quick little flyby. He took time, spoke with the family, embraced her. He got down on her level, and he just had that one-on-one with her. This is what people love about Harry. You wouldn't even know this was a prince. Just think about that. That's why people love him. He is just so easy in his manner, and it's not performative at all. I'm sure he did not even think twice of his status or anything as he was just crouching down to have that conversation with her before the movie started. And that's just what people love about Harry and Meghan. And another thing I would like to point out, it's fascinating. Remember the "we want privacy, we want privacy" that people were trying to mock. Yet for once, it is fantastic to see that a lie that has been repeated is just falling apart. It's not really catching on, because here we saw a lot of articles starting off with saying that Harry and Meghan have a rare night out on the red carpet. Here, just look at this sampling of articles. They speak about Harry and Meghan having a rare date night in Jamaica, Harry and Meghan having a rare red carpet date night, and on and on. They kept using the word rare. It shows you that these are not people who are looking for attention, yet claiming they want to have private lives. They just did not want the press overly prying into their lives. Meghan herself said she did not mind sharing. In fact, she believed in that. It's just when they were going too far. And here is testament to this, how wonderfully the truth is coming out. This is an article here on Yahoo Entertainment, and they say this: Prince Harry and Meghan aren't giving the media advance warnings of their appearances anymore. So we'll just segue into this. The story goes and says, quote, "Last fall, Prince Harry and Meghan started making unexpected appearances that the media knew nothing about. They talked about Meghan showing up on the red carpet and the duo attending a Vancouver Canucks hockey game without a single press release going out. So everybody knew they would be there. Welcome to the Sussexes' new PR strategy," this article says. And it's working well for them, as they turned up in Jamaica on Tuesday night for the premiere of Bob Marley One Love. Royal critics will say that they probably were there to have all the attention focused on them, but they were there to show support for the film. They posed for the red carpet photos and went into the theater. Not a single interview was given from them because it wasn't their project. This refreshing approach is working well for them. Harry and Meghan will draw positive attention to the movie that celebrates the life and music of Bob Marley, who inspired generations through his message of love and unity. And their red carpet photos didn't even overshadow the event, because they only posed in group shots with Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness and another shot with the president and CEO of Paramount Pictures, Brian Robbins, and his wife Tracy. And they go on to talk about Meghan wearing a simple yet elegant spaghetti strap black dress, while Harry opted for his favorite navy suit with a crisp white shirt. And this article says their low-key attire also reflected the nature of their attendance at the premiere. They were not there to be showstoppers. After a year of negative headlines, the couple is finding a balance and figuring out the best way to handle their royal lives. And this article acknowledges that Harry and Meghan are starting over with a fresh, understated approach, end quote. So you can see here, everyone else can see that they've moved on, and their circle of trust is so tight that they just show up to events, do their thing. If it's not their event, they don't give interviews, and they go. Someone else also tried to mock where Harry and Meghan were seated in the theaters. Yet again, the press picked up on a very innocent post by a fan who was there and tried to make it that Harry and Meghan were given some undesirable seats at the theater. But come on now, before we post articles, come on, a little bit of research would have shown that this is something that is standard at many premieres. Firstly, just take for example here, we have the Avengers. Those of you who watch Marvel movies, the superhero movies, whenever movies launch, they have a premiere, which of course constitutes a lot of facets to it. Red carpet, interviews on the red carpet, then the actors go up on stage and they all have this moment where they have a small procession on the stage and they give a quick intro to the film. Sometimes the actors will speak, sometimes just the directors will speak, sometimes both. And then the movie starts and then they get to sit down. So I'm giving here, some Marvel movies behind the scenes, just for comparison, because we saw this happening as well at the Bob Marley film. The actors, the stars of the film, and the producers, directors, they have their moment on the red carpet, then they follow that whole procedure, interviews on the red carpet, then on the stage. And it's repeated over and over again. Here we can see the actors of a Marvel movie on the stage from their own POV, that is their point of view. You can see the theater that they're at is full. And then after they give this talk, they will also, most of the time, go into the crowds and sit down. The first seats in the theater tend to be reserved for the stars of the film. So it would be highly unlikely that Harry or Meghan especially, who has been, in Hollywood and all that, would have been given the first row seats at a premiere. Those seats would be for the actors. First of all, it's just functional. It's an ease of access thing. They go up on stage and they get down to those first seats. Instead of when all the lights go dim, them having to, walk between rows and find seats. It's also distracting for those who are already seated down. So, of course, first few seats reserved for them, the directors, everyone who went up on stage, perhaps even the family of the artist who are there, who gave their blessing. So yes, that's just standard operating procedure. You would give the first few seats to those who go up on stage, because sometimes they go up on stage from the seats themselves, depending on the venue and the size and all that. So Harry and Meghan had reserved seating, and it was all right. They were just going to be a few rows behind. It does not talk about their importance. It is functional. It is for the actors and the cast, the stars, to go up on stage who are part of the project. So yes, people were making a huge mockery of it, where Harry and Meghan were, seated, and that was a nothing burger. It was nothing at all. And it was not even a huge deal. It was just what's done over and over again. Those first few rows are for the stars of the film, the producers, those who are directly involved with the project, as well as sometimes their spouses who accompany them for the event. And yes, once again, reading too much into nothing. And I love this article here, just acknowledging that Harry and Meghan played their part. No underhandedness was on their part. They came out, supported their friends, the project, the family, and back to the US they went. And why were some people asking, where are the children? Come on now. Talking of Archie and Lilibet, stop with that. You do not have any right to see the Sussex children. And I love how stars these days and people online are just basically saying that they will not put their children online without the kids' consent themselves. So yes, another fantastic part. So I love how people are acknowledging that no, Harry and Meghan are not attention mongers. That whole we want privacy thing. No. A lie has a short life, and I'm so happy about that. And the love that Harry and Meghan have gotten has just been so fantastic. Seeing people's different takes on this has been amazing. So I want to ask a question as this video is going on in the polls, and I hope you'll all see it there in the live. Do you think that the royal family had a missed opportunity in harnessing the influence that Harry and Meghan have as a mixed-race couple while they were senior working members of the royal family? Share your thoughts on that in that poll and in the comment section below. I would love to know your thoughts. So share your thoughts on all of this. And here, just a very quick add-on. It is becoming quite obvious to see that how some segments of the press in the UK have not been reporting the news, but have been simply creating it. Some of you brought to our attention that there was an article here which was very negative about Kate. It was speaking about her character and all of that, and something happened and the whole article shifted and the headline changed to Prince Harry. So wow, amazing. They were caught right in the act of creating news and not reporting it. And I'm so happy that Harry said he was stepping his family away from that. He was not going to play these types of games. And kudos to him and to Meghan. Let them just continue on this way, because the world is starting to see more and more that there was very unfair treatment against the Sussex couple. But now, the truth always comes out. It's like cream, it rises to the top. So share thoughts on all of this in the comment section below. I would love to know your thoughts. As always, before we log off, allow me here to thank those of you who support this channel financially and shout you out by name. A very, very special thank you to you. Kathy Aye, thank you so much for your faithful and kind support for my work throughout the years. Thank you so much. You are a blessing. I love you. Thank you as well to you. You go by the handle Maggie Jackson. Thank you for your love that you've shown to me all these years in choosing to accompany me here on this YouTube journey. Thank you so very much for being a blessing time and time again to my work. Thank you, and I love you. Thank you as well to Patricia Lane. I appreciate you for always being so giving and generous towards my work here on YouTube. You truly make a difference here, and I want to say thank you and God bless you. And now a very special thank you to those of you who gave through Super Thanks. You go by the handle Thelma Christmas 3838. Thank you for giving. Thank you for caring. Thank you for thinking of me and for giving towards this channel. I appreciate you for that positivity. May God bless you. Thank you. Once again, share your thoughts on all of this below. And if you watched to this point in the video, give it a thumbs up, click that subscribe button. It truly helps out the channel, and follow on Twitter or X. I would love to see you on there as well. Have a great day. I love you all, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a blessed one.